Good evening, Iain Holman. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks very much. It's good to see you again, Denise.
And thank you so much for this week. It's been really good fun getting to know you, and I'm really looking forward to asking you a few questions. But firstly, how has the lockdown affected you and your work, or has it at all? Or
Not really. I don't really see a change. I'm used to just working on my own in the studio, and it's only when you really go out and go to shops and you suddenly see the queues and the empty shelves, and obviously now everyone wearing masks. So I'm used to just doing this on my own. But obviously, yes, you you feel it's a small price to pay just to stay at home, and obviously these health workers who are on the front line, and so it's not a big deal. But I've enjoyed, it's been quite quiet outside. Where we just moved into a new build, and there's a building site just to the right of us, and that just went quiet the minute the lockdown started.
fantastic.
It was really good, and to see the wildlife coming back. I mean, the building site was covered in rabbits, and,
I
and
know
so
we're starting to notice things that we've never seen before.
yeah, right, yeah, absolutely.
It's
It's really,
amazing how adaptable I think we can get so in such a short space of time.
it is. I'm looking back at photographs I'd taken last year with groups of people, and it just seems like another time.
Yeah.
Will we ever do that again? Will we ever sit in a cafe and
No, going to a concert again.
oh, it's,
Um,
it's really,
so you are a full-time artist. So we represented you obviously for Ireland, but you have a few galleries in the UK and your hometown in Scotland. So you work during the day and you paint during the day. So I presume having the kids at home affected that routine slightly, did it?
it did. I used to have a garden studio, so you could, separate your
Mm.
art career with family life. But here, yes, you're in a room in a house, and the two-bedroom right girls, and so it can be a bit difficult. But I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
I don't blank them out. They might. I warned them. I said, "Don't come in."
And they listen. They listen. You're lucky, mine don't.
Right.
So did you always know you were going to be an artist? Have you always painted?
Yes, I think so. Every child draws and paints. My two girls do it, but I suppose the only difference was that I just stuck with it. Although, of course, today there's a lot more distractions with iPads and etc. So yeah, I always thought I would be either an artist or in the creative field, but I
Mm.
ended up being a designer for a number of years. So
Okay.
yeah, I thought I would be doing something. I enjoyed it, and I knew uh, some people that were working in printers. They were artists. They were called finished artists, which is slightly
Mm.
different. But I thought, oh well, you can make a living, so maybe there's a chance for me. So yeah, I think I knew then that I would do this.
And where did you study art?
Initially, I studied in Aberdeen. It was a commercial college, and it was really design orientated, and that's what I wanted to do. I thought I would be a graphic
Mm.
designer, and I ended up doing that. Um, but after a career as a designer, I uh, I decided that I would like to give it a go as a full-time
Mm.
artist. But I decided to sit a master's degree in fine art, and that
Wow.
was at the Open College of Art. And that really just got the ball rolling. I just
Mm.
wanted to see what
You
what,
knew, yeah.
what
And you have to make that decision. It's a frightening decision to make as an artist to become the full-time artist, isn't it? But
yeah, oh yes, I
you
mean,
have to believe in yourself as well. How long are you a full-time artist? When did you make that decision?
2016. That's when the degree course finished, and I decided that's it. I'll just see what happens. I still had a few design clients, but most of those have gone now because I couldn't really service these clients' work on a regular basis. And in a way, if you don't put your full focus into being an artist, then I think you'll struggle, certainly. I know some people will.
You can't dip in and out. It's kind of all or nothing, isn't it? It's very hard to do both.
It is. You really have to be immersed in what you do.
Definitely.
And I love it, and it's good that I'm getting by. Obviously with the lockdown has been difficult, but then everybody's in the same boat, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, that's quite reassuring, isn't it, as well? And
yes.
Was the creative gene in your family, or were you the first artist?
I don't really remember my father doing any drawing, but my mother, I don't think so. My uncle, certainly. I remember he used to come round and visit us, and he used to be able to draw a tractor in front of me upside down so I could see it. And I brilliant. This guy's a genius. He can do it upside down. But he ended up being an architect. So obviously there was some drawing skills required for that. But no, I don't think so. I have twin sisters, and I don't think they were really interested in it. Music probably for them, I think, when they were growing up.
Yeah, creative.
So I was the only one really that seemed to be doing the drawing.
And what made you go towards portraiture? Was because you actually, when I saw your early works, actually we have one in the gallery. I mean, there was still a portrait. So were you always a portrait artist?
No, not really. I looked at, I suppose, different subjects. Some of it was quite surreal. I did seascapes. In fact, I started out seascapes just because they were easy references to source. I used to go along the east coast of East Lothian. It's just to the east of Edinburgh, and there's some really good beaches there. So I go along there and get some references. And that was a great introduction to painting again.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things with lockdown we've experienced with a lot of our artists, they are trying out different challenges and different ideas because they have time. And I loved what you have you did with the flowers. I mean,
yeah, that's it. I was running.
Yeah, I really like that. Is that a direction we're going to go? Oh, have you got it there?
No, it's actually it's out at the gallery at the moment. But yeah, I realised I was struggling for models, and I thought, well, what am I going to paint? I could go obviously down to the sea, but there was restrictions there down at the beach. So, I thought obviously the street life. Well, street life, there's nobody about.
Oh my God, there is actually.
So yeah, so flowers seemed an interesting alternative, I guess, and I love doing it because it's a different skill set, and you don't have to worry about lightness or getting proportions right, that you do with a figure, because they're critical. So you get away with a few things, but again, I appreciate that there's still a lot of work and detail that goes into flowers. So I loved it. In fact, I might do a couple more.
We might see a few then in the gallery.
Yeah, my partner, she keeps bringing back flowers and saying,
subtle hints.
Yeah, so I've got lilies, so I might be doing them in the next couple of days.
I definitely think, I think it's a nice little distraction from the portraits. It's just, I thought they worked really well.
It's like a little holiday from doing.
Yeah, it's nice that, isn't it? Yeah, because I suppose with portraits, I know from one of our clients commissioned you to do, and you did it so well, and it was just superb how you managed. You kept us up to date as well, and it was so easy to, and even the client said that it was a really easy journey to have, because I know people can be nervous about getting commissions done, but You
Yeah,
just can do it. Yeah.
I mean, there is the pressure on you to get a likeness and obviously to draw it well. And it's the same with this one here at the moment. It's a painting that it's a mother that she wanted her son painted, and she was quite forthcoming, saying the reason for it was that she wished she had a painting of her when she was in her early 20s as a memory. And
Yeah.
I can understand that. And she decided, obviously, that it's a painting of her son, so she wants to have that for herself, but also for him, so he'll have a memory of what he was like in his 20s. So
And it's a contemporary portrait, which I love about your work. You know, it's not your typical photorealistic one, which I think some people can be nervous commissioning that style, and I think
yeah,
you make, I just love it. I think that's it's a more modern take, I suppose, on commissioning a portrait.
I think with realism, I mean, I can always tighten up a bit if necessary. If someone's thinking they don't want it too loose, but enjoy it this way. It's much more fun. It's much more
Yeah.
and I get a pass out of it. I mean, I
Do
love it.
you prefer to have the person in front of you and take your own photos and do your own sketches, or because I know with us you worked from photographs, which I thought was even better. It was amazing how you got such a likeness. But your ideal situation, would you like them in person with you?
Yes, I would usually prefer to have the model come to the studio and I can set them up. But I can work from a photograph that's supplied, as long as it's a reasonable quality, and I think it's a style that I could work with. And the photograph that you sent to me was absolutely fine. It had that side that I wanted. And there was no smiling. That's often
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
can often look like it's a photograph. And it worked really well, the one that you sent to me. So I was delighted. I think you were surprised.
Yeah, I was really surprised that I was able to take a decent photo. But yeah, it was just lovely. I loved how you did it. It was really. I'm just looking at the background there of the one you're working on. So you draw everything out first. You sketch it out.
I do, but I started to do is I would do the drawing, but an awful lot of the time I just paint over the drawing. And I know it sounds really a waste of time, but I have that idea of I don't know why, I just like to do the drawing. So in here, you can see, I don't know if you can see some sort of the drawing there, but then I go over with a base color, and I can still see some of the drawing through, but it just keeps me right. So the worst thing is if you don't use a drawing, start painting straight on, it might not be quite center, and you don't want to make expensive changes. And I mean expensive as in you might have to move the figure slightly over. And
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So that's how I work now. I always do a drawing, a base color, and then start painting on top.
And do you ever use a palette knife?
I do. Sometimes I have I think 3 different shapes of palette knife, but I tend to use the brushes the most. But it's really for streaks and on the hair. I'll take a palette knife and I'll rub it down. It depends what I'm looking for. If I really want to get the paint looking quite rough and scraped, then obviously a palette knife is excellent for doing that. But generally speaking, it's usually mainly the brush work, for the shapes that I'm trying to find.
Have you ever had a commission where they hated it, or they said, "Can you redo it again?"
Well, maybe this one, maybe I'm working on. Gosh, I hope not. So far, it's always been a success, but it's this particular one. She doesn't know which photograph I was going to use, and I was tempted to show her, but then I thought, well, it'll give her a surprise. Was if she sees a completely new painting, although she was there when the photographs were taken, but if there's a problem with this one, I did say to her that her son was a great model. I mean, he just was a natural, and so
Yeah.
a good choice if there is an issue. But this one, it just feels right. I like this pose. He was.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, I think a client knows your style. They're not going to commission you if, you know, there has to have a bit of trust and artistic license for you to do what you do as well. So
It is. But one of the things that she asked for was she would like a blue background. She likes the blue backgrounds I use.
I was just going to ask you that about the color background. Yeah, the
Yeah,
background color.
although this is an underpaint I've got here, but I'll use it's usually ultramarine or cerulean blue. I have a Prussian blue now, which I'm really enjoying using. So I'll mix these in, and I'll add another color as well, maybe a red, or and then down near the bottom there'll be some darks, I guess, some blacks, and maybe more earthy colors. But overall, I'll have a blue palette color to it.
You make it look so easy and so much fun. I mean, how do you know when it's finished? Do you know straight away, or do you keep going back and revisiting it the next day?
I think when you start making, I'm trying to think how best to say it. When you start mucking it up, I think that
Overworking it.
sometimes I'll look at it and I think, oh, this is finished. Oh, but that color over there, I think I might just change that.
Yeah.
Damn, I should have left it. It was fine as it was. Sometimes that happens, but yes, you tend to there is that last sort of quarter or 25% of the painting that you need to finish, and sometimes you think it's going to take you another day or two, and then you finish it that afternoon because it just comes together.
And leave it alone.
Yeah, so sometimes it's best just to leave it alone. But other times, I'll see a painting that's gone out, that's come back, and I think, oh, I might just finish
Tempted to ask for
it. Redo it.
We had I had an incident with a client where the painting wasn't signed, and the client had bought it, so I gave it back to the artist to sign, but she actually ended up adding something onto the fruit.
Really?
She said it wasn't right, but yeah, the customer wasn't too happy.
Yeah, you see, I think that's a dangerous thing to do. Yeah,
especially when it's sold.
Oh, yeah. I do remember sending some paintings off to a gallery, just the photographs first, and then I still had the painting, and I did a change in it, and then I realised obviously it wasn't right on the
website.
On the website.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And yeah, so I had to try and go in with Photoshop. Right.
That actually happened today with me, because I've been getting all the images from the artist with lockdown. So when the work has arrived in the last 2 weeks, it's changed. Yeah, it was a customer today just said, oh, look, it looks very different on the website than and I could see the different layers. I think that's allowed. You can't, you can't help it. Can I ask you, what's the strangest commission you've been asked to do? I've noticed you had a baby, actually, was a commission of baby, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, that was actually quite difficult because a baby was just a young boy. He doesn't really have a lot of, you don't have a lot of character to your face, so it's very smooth skin, and the way I sometimes add in harsh lines, it doesn't look quite right on the baby. So that was quite difficult. Painting that little boy. But I haven't had any really strange ones. I'm trying to think there was a design client. There was some celebrity that he really fancied. He asked me if I would do a painting of her. Was it Bernie Ecclestone's daughter, I think it is, that he wanted. And he sent me some photographs, but I just said, I don't think this is right. I don't have the copyright on these images. And it's just for me, and I said, yeah, I know, but I declined in the end.
I suppose, yeah, you could get yourself into a tricky situation, all right.
You could. I don't know this. I don't know what his wife would have thought of it either. You know, hanging on his wall.
Have you painted your two girls and your wife? Have you done that?
I haven't. I've got a small drawing pad. It's an acrylic pad actually, and you can use oils on it. And I've done them as babies actually. But I haven't, because I've just been busy. I haven't had a chance to actually paint my girls. But I've been under pressure from the partner to do it sooner than later, because obviously they're growing up fast.
Yeah, and it's a lovely way to mark their journey of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I have a photograph I took of them that was just on the Kintyre Peninsula, just on the west coast of Scotland, and they were just playing in the water, and they were coming out, and they were holding hands, and it was a nice little photograph. So I might do a painting of that one, but because it's for me and it's personal, it's on the back burner. You know,
it's on that list, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll do it at some point, I guess. But,
when we were telling people if they had asked anyone if they had any questions for you, and somebody wanted to know if you ever painted animal commissions.
Well, that's actually really interesting you should say that, because where I'm in Biggar, I drive along to Lanark. This is where we're shopping. There's a field with some horses in there, and there was one, a very tanned horse, and it's just a beautiful looking horse. And I've always thought about actually painting animals, because it's complicated anatomy, and it would be a real challenge. And I on my website I have it's a painting of the Duke of Wellington. It's a statue that's in Glasgow. There's a bone on its head, and that's so obviously this was just a statue of a horse. But to paint, I loved it, and so that's another avenue I'm thinking of is animals. I mean, it might be even a dog, but probably more like not a long-haired dog, maybe more like a greyhound or something like that.
I'll end up buying it if it's a greyhound. I'm greyhound.
I'll make a note of that then. The only reason is we moved in here, and there's a neighbour who has this greyhound, and she always takes it out for a walk, and I keep thinking I wouldn't mind actually. This is when I was running out of models.
Before the flowers came.
Good to go maybe ask her, but then the flowers got in the way. So I would certainly look at.
You're open to it. That's interesting.
Definitely, I think especially the horses. I saw just on the way.
You have such a distinctive style. You could actually do anything, and you'd know it's an Iain Holman painting.
Oh, that's really good to say, because they obviously. I don't think I'm unique, but every artist has a signature style, I guess. Yeah, it's difficult to be unique, but certainly your own signature style, and it just comes, through time. The more you paint, you see.
Yeah. So, what is the largest piece you've ever done?
I did. It was actually for my course. It was 100 by 150 centimeters, and there were two portraits side by side of a local man in Crawford, where I used to live, and he was a bit of a character. He liked to drink, but he always seemed to be living in the 70s, always going back to the music. He was into T-Rex and everything. So I did these two big portraits of him. It was part of my degree, and he was a brilliant character. Very, deep lines in his face, and just a real great character to paint. So that was probably the biggest, because obviously both together. And I've also got one with you, I think, at the moment. It's
three.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's very different, isn't it, to what you're doing now?
It is. Again, that was during the degree course that I did. So I was just experimenting, and it was based on film. And I did some what was it? Some captions on it as well.
Yeah.
On each movie. So it was a fun one to do. That's the first triptych that I'd completed.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, I noticed when we declined to was questioning to do a portrait of her two children, and you like to do them kind of single portraits, don't you? You don't really like to put two people in them. You always say it looks better on its own.
Yes, I like just the one figure in there. It's just something about that one portrait. But that said, again, coming back to this commission here, the mother has a daughter, and she was thinking about maybe having both. And I said I'd be happy to do that. In the end, I think she was waiting for her daughter to. I think she's maybe 16, and she wants to maybe wait when she's about 18 or 19, maybe, to get a painting. No, it depends if there's a reason for it. I have these projects in my mind, and it was really to do with. I won't go into all the politics of this, but it was to do with Scottish independence, and it was two figures. And it's something that I'm thinking about because I want to record things that are happening in my own time. And
of course, yeah.
It still may be another indie ref too. So I just like to record these things. So I've got that idea, and that's got a few figures in it. But generally speaking, it's usually just one.
Oh, I think, no, it works, really well. Iain, it's been so nice chatting to you, and thank you so much for your time this week. It's been really good fun. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing that finished piece as well behind you.
Yeah, well, hopefully end of this week, if not into early next week.
If not, then some flowers or greyhounds could be on the cards.
Yeah, horses, greyhounds, flowers. It's a new avenue. And,
it's exciting, yeah. And I just can't recommend you enough how good to get a commission done by you was just brilliant. Really, really nice, and it's so nice to mark, especially with children, isn't it? Just to mark them.
It tends to be a lot of mothers, with their children.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So
anyway, you have been great, and thank you so much, and look forward to speaking to you again.
Yes, and me too.
All right, thanks, Iain.
Bye.
Bye-bye.